Nipsey Hussle's alleged killer, he wants a break from his bail, $6.5 million bail to be exact. He claims that he poses no risk to the public, no harm to the public. What do you think about this? If any of you know about this story, and I know many people by now who are, especially in the Los Angeles, South LA region, know about the story of Nipsey Hussle, or they know of the story of it. If you saw on social media when they shared some of the video footage of what happened to this young man who is a Grammy nominated winner. So, Nancy Dillon, New York Daily News, March 25th, 2020. The man accused of gunning down Grammy-nominated rapper Nipsey Hussle 2 years ago is asking for a break on his extremely high $6.5 million bail, claiming that he's no risk to the public. Eric R. Holder Jr., 31 years of age, appeared in a Los Angeles courtroom on Thursday and listened as his public defender said that she filed the bail reduction motion on his behalf. So this is what they're trying to pursue of this point now. So the public filing argues that Holder's criminal history before the alleged shooting was insignificant, including only one felony conviction in 2012 for carrying a concealed firearm. Based on the isolated nature of this case, Mr. Holder does not pose a risk or a harm to the public, the motion states. So even a reduction of a bail down to about 4 million should satisfy any concerns by the court and the district attorney. So the filing from the public defender, now I may not pronounce all of the names correct, so I just want to let you know, because they're even further down, some of the names get kind of hard to pronounce. So Lowen Young states this. This is the public defender. So if I messed up your name, apologies. Hopefully you accept him. So the filing argues that Holder isn't a flight risk as well because he doesn't hold a passport and has significant family ties to the community, including a father who's a government worker. Okay, so the judge, Curtis B. Rappe, gave prosecutors until next Tuesday to respond to the motion and set a follow-up hearing. This is April the 6th that this one is coming. So prosecutors say that Hussle, who his real name is Aramis Ashton, arrived at his Marathon clothing store in South Los Angeles unannounced. This was March the 31st, 2019 or 2019 that year, and he was taking photos and talking to his friends and signing his autographs when Holder had appeared. So the rapper and Holder had a conversation that had something to do with Mr. Ashton accusing Mr. Holder of snitching. So Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney John McKinney previously told a grand jury, according to the transcripts that are unsealed, in June of 2019 and obtained by the New York Daily News. After the conversation took place, Holder left the scene and then he returned shortly thereafter, short time after, later, and he walked up to Nipsey Hussle, or walked up to Mr. Hussle and the other men and pumped multiple rounds into Hussle's head and torsos, the prosecutors say. So Mr. Holder was firing with two different handguns that he had, trading between his right and his left hand, McKinney told the grand jury. So just picture the scene. They get in a conversation, and then the conversation gets heated, and then some words were tossed around, and then next thing you know, he leaves the premises, and then he comes back with these guns, and he has two different guns in both hands, and he's firing on switching hands. Okay, so two different handguns, and he's trading between his right and his left hand, McKinney told the grand jury. Surveillance footage, they showed this, and the shooting played out in broad daylight, with two people falling to the ground and bystanders were fleeing for their lives. So Holder allegedly fled the scene with a woman who later turned herself in for questioning. So Holder was arrested 2 days later after a manhunt by police, and then neighborhood people were asking around to see had they seen who did it and where he was or knew who he was. Of course, some people knew. The grand jury indicted Holder on one count of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder and weapons charges. So he has pleaded not guilty. So what do you think? He pleaded not guilty, and the videotape showed what he was doing, and they want to reduce his bail. Didn't say anything about letting him out, but he basically gunned down this public figure. So your guess is good as mine. I feel like this. I think he is a flight risk. That's my opinion. I'm just giving a bit of my opinion. And judging from just this short, very concise article about how the shooting scene took place, I mean, he really has just like those guns, they're like real, like, scary to think that you have somebody coming at you with two guns, not one gun, but just even one gun is scary, but having two guns, I mean, that doesn't sound like somebody that, you really feel comfortable having out around the public. And if they already were in trouble for having a concealed weapon, and they have a tendency to have, just like their trigger, a trigger temper, I don't think I would take that kind of risk. I mean, we already seen what just happened in Colorado, and we already seen what happens, to people when they have, if it is not a race issue, if it's a hate issue, or if it's mental issues, or both, then you have people who are just running up on people because they get in an argument. You got, honestly, if you ask, from my opinion, I feel like people who sounds like the people who are doing the most damage that have the guns are the ones that don't need to be with guns, and the ones that probably should arm themselves. They might have guns, but they're afraid to use them because they're afraid they're going to be penalized for protecting themselves. And so that's my opinion on that. What do you think about it? I mean, I really think he should not be going anywhere around anybody. He is a flight risk. And, if his bail is high, maybe that's the reason why they set it so high, because the intention is for him to not ever get out. And 4 million is pretty high, 6.5 million is a lot, but I mean, maybe they think that he knows some people in some high places that might be able to put that bail up. So that's why they set the bail a little higher than what he's trying to go for. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to let this video go. I just think this is really scary. It almost is like a slap in the face as well, too. I know people are going to say, well, what about the history of Nipsey Hussle and where he started and where he came from, and, what he represented before he became this Grammy winner. But, I mean, come on now. He's not here to defend himself. And when he was there, we seen what happened in the video footage. That speaks for itself. It speaks louder than anything could ever. So having said that, I'm going to let this video go. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for listening.